customers, in whatever shape or form they take in your organisations, are critical. And Kate Wignall's here from Barclays to talk about where everyone knows your name. Do you really know your customers? So that sounds fascinating. So with no further ado, please welcome Kate Wignall.
Thank you, Howard. Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Wignall. I'm from Barclays. I was sort of expecting when they said a breakout session that there'd be a few tables at the front, you know, a nice cosy chat. We seem to have a room full of people, so I'm not a professional speaker. Please bear with me. Not first time on a stage, but first time addressing a room this size. So I hope you'll bear that in mind as I go through. I've just watched them clean up after Chris's paper fest, so I'm glad they did that. I won't do that to them again. I don't think they were expecting it. As Howard said, I'm here to talk about customers in the service desk, and particularly around my customers in Barclays, in the Barclays IT service desk, and hopefully some of the things that I say might resonate with you, and some of the things that you might recognise in your own service desks as well. Just to give you a bit of context around the service desk that I run, we are the IT support for the entire Barclays group, so around 140,000 colleagues in Barclays across 50 countries. So it's a fairly expansive group of people to support. We are 24 hours a day. We support our colleagues 365 days a year. We've got a large team, so a large team of service desk people can be a blessing, and it can also be a curse when you look at your cost and overhead to the organisation as well. So we are a large team. We've got around 450 people in 4 global hubs, and I'll come on to talk about that a little bit more as well. We support our customers in the languages they speak. So predominantly in Western Europe, we support some of the languages that people speak in country where they don't speak English. We've got an Italian service desk, a French service desk, a Spanish service desk, and a Portuguese service desk, as well as our English one as well. So a lot of challenges there, a lot of cultural different expectations in terms of our service desk as well, and cultural habits, and that adds an additional challenge as well, I guess. I've put there helping our colleagues 3 million times a year with their IT. We actually ran a project last year to reduce the number of hits from our customers into the IT service desk, and we actually reduced that by 1 million last year through automation, through education, through self-service options as well. But still now we are supporting around 3 million tickets a year. So that just gives you a insight, I suppose, into the scale and nature of our service desk. And the reason I wanted to put those facts up there was not to say, wow, we've got a great big service desk and we've got loads of people and we speak loads of languages and isn't it great and big? Because I think actually I say it's sometimes a curse rather than a blessing, the size of the desk. It was more around the subject, and coming back to the reason I wanted to talk today was around knowing your customer. So our customers are vast, you know, they're in countries with different cultures, different roles, all in banking. Obviously, the nature of what we do, different types of banking, retail banking, investment banking, very different backgrounds to our customers, very different expectations of us. So as vast as we are, it's even more important, I guess, for the Barclays IT service desk to know its customer really well and not deliver a bland sort of vanilla solution for everybody. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. We're based, I said we had a number of hubs. Our main hub, our main service desk is in Vilnius in Lithuania, and we're lucky to have a couple of our Lithuanian service desk agents with us today. We've brought some people with us. So we've got over 300 people in Vilnius alone. We've got a desk in Cheshire, just out of Knutsford. We run a number of services from there. We have a team supporting Barclaycard in the USA, in Delaware, just near Philadelphia. And then we have a team supporting our ABSA bank in Johannesburg. So we've got around 50 people in Johannesburg there serving the local bank in South Africa. So varied again, like I say, different brands, different customers. different teams supporting them, different cultures of the team supporting them, so it's quite a blend. So what I want to talk about really was making it personal. So with that scale of operation, how do you break it down into its component parts and make it personal for the customer? So if they're contacting us 3 million times a year, how do we stop it feeling like a bland transaction and make it actually feel personal for our customers who are contacting us? And one of the questions we asked ourselves very early on, we set this desk up. We brought it together around 2010 by bringing all the various disparate IT service desks together. Each business unit had its own IT service desk before that, and we brought them together under one banner, and it would have been very, very easy to go down a sort of blanket, everybody gets treated the same, all tickets get handled the same, you get a standard answer, a standard response, we've got our KPIs around it, our measurements, and off we go. And actually we did start off down that road. So you can imagine across all these different people, some of the technologies are very different that we support. Not everybody's on the same technology. I'm sure that's not an indifferent story for you all as well. And we did go down the route of starting off with a blueprint of how we thought it should look, and very quickly realised that our customers were so diverse and had different expectations of us that we needed to do something different. So early part of last year, we organised ourselves differently. We split ourselves up into customer-aligned teams so we could really connect with the customers who were calling with us and align ourselves to them. And I'll talk about some of the ways that we did that later on. So my question, what do you know about the person who's contacting you? It's very, very easy in our industry, I suppose, to look inwardly, to look at what we're providing, to get lost in service desk statistics and, you know, first point of contact resolution, how many calls and how many wait times and all the interesting stuff that we all get excited about in our industry, and lose sight of why we're here, which is to serve that customer, and what do we know about them and what they need to do their job and why they're doing their job and what makes them successful. So that's where we really took it back to basics and just tried to start from there in terms of if we understood about them, we'd understood what we need to do to support them. One of the things that we did start to evolve very quickly was what did we know about their business drivers? What do we know about their strategies? What do we know about key times in their annual calendars? What do we know about the way that they use their IT? So for us, supporting Barclaycard, for example, obviously in a retail business, Christmas time, very, very important, public holidays, extremely important, busy times for that particular customer, where if we're supporting our finance colleagues, for example, their financial calendar might be quite different again. So by talking with them and understanding what they needed from us, we sort of often use the example in our service desk that if you had a problem with a spreadsheet on the last day in March, might not be a big issue. If it's from our finance team and it's the last day of the financial calendar and they've got a spreadsheet issue or an access issue, it suddenly becomes a big deal. So prioritisation of tickets might change depending on the day of the week it is, the time in the financial calendar. And that became a big theme for us, really, just understanding what in IT terms might not be important to us as an IT organisation in the context of their business, in the context of the time they were doing that business, might be a big deal. How do they become successful? So what are the pressures on them? Who are the people in their industry that make them successful, and how can you help them achieve that? And I suppose, again, that's looking outwards rather than inwardly. We knew ourselves what tick boxes made us look successful in compared to, you know, our industry peers. But that necessarily isn't a great flag to fly inside your own organisation. It's about creating that value back to the customer. So what's the organisation structure? Who are the influencers? So the organisation structure of the people you're supporting, we think, is really, really critical. Understanding who those VIPs are, understanding who the important people in the office are, might really influence how you support them. And the VIPs, we find, might not be the most senior person in the organisation. We found that the PAs and the team secretaries and the team assistants, probably the most important community that we support. They're the biggest influencers, certainly in our organisation, in terms of dropping words into the right ear. They certainly are, and probably most critical to the network of the organisation. So just thinking about really who those important people might be was a real turning point for us. In terms of how are they likely to want to contact you, so we sort of started with the assumption that everyone would want to contact us the same way, because don't they? They want to phone us, they might want to email us, they might want to chat with us. And actually when we looked at the different customers we were supporting and understanding the different roles that they had, we understood that they might want to contact us different ways. And I think about how you're going to want to contact them. That might look very different for different parts of the business. So for example, we support personal bankers out in the high street in Barclays branches across the world. We support those people who are sitting organising your mortgages with you, organising your current accounts with you. Is it convenient when they're on stage with a customer for them to pick up the phone and start calling you? Maybe, maybe not, or maybe it actually interrupts the flow of their transaction if they're trying to open an account for somebody. It might be more convenient for them to chat to you. It might be more convenient for them to get a different kind of response online from you. So really trying to understand each person's need. For an investment banking trader, for example, they're unlikely to want to chat. They just want to pick up a phone and speak to somebody straight away, or maybe even have one of our guys right in there with them, sat next to them and helping them. So understanding the different business pressures on those people and how to respond accordingly makes for a harder life for us, but actually an easier life for our customers, and that's actually the purpose of what we've tried to do. And what can you tell them about about their business? And this was really a light bulb moment for us. So we harvest all this information about our customers. We know about their IT, obviously, because we know what works and what doesn't for them. We also know about things like their training needs. We know about things like how good their induction programs are, because you've got a really unique insight into their business. You understand what people need when they walk through the door. You understand what they're calling you about. And that's a really unique perspective to be able to play back to the business. Do they need to invest more in trading when people walk through the door? What's the profile when people join? What's the profile of tickets that they raise, and what do they need from the IT organisation? Are they IT literate? In Barclays, some people extremely IT literate, other people couldn't care less. They just use those IT tools to get to where they need to. And understanding that different profile of people helps you shape how you support them, and feeding that back to the business helps them understand their people as well. So it was a bit of a unique perspective that we hadn't considered before, but once you understand what information you're holding on to and you can feed that back, it's actually really powerful. So I talked about the consistency before, and perhaps the route that we didn't go down of making it a very bland service that we offered. One thing I want to talk around is that consistency of service, because of course you want to be consistent. And customers in one part of the organisation dealing with you might well get another job in another part of the organisation and also deal with you with a different hat on. And of course you want it to feel consistent. Of course you want the quality to feel the same. But it doesn't have to necessarily be the same experience for different parts of the business. So I talked before around channels. Are they appropriate to that department and team? And have you asked them? You know, we were quite egotistical about the way that we would deliver service, first of all. And it was only really when we sat down and had regular reviews with our clients, and we sit down on a monthly basis with each of our clients, and it's a vast job, I can tell you, but we sit down with them on a monthly basis and we talk about what's important to them, not what we want to tell them. When I first went into a service review with one of my wealth clients, I got my pack ready. I knew exactly how many seconds it had to wait to contact us. We'd patted ourselves on the back because it wasn't very many. We knew exactly what our first point of contact resolution was, and it was better than last month, and that was great too. And the first thing my chief client did was just rip the pack up and throw it away. like that, having a full heart attack because he'd just thrown all my lovely service desk statistics away. And actually he wasn't interested. And that was, actually after I got over it and just thought, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He was right, because what he doesn't care. He doesn't need to understand the service desk industry. All he cared about were people getting what they needed. Were they getting it when they needed it? And actually all he was listening to was his own colleagues, not my service desk statistics. And that was quite a turnaround moment for me, really. So understanding what they need from you is much more key than what you can throw back at them. The response times was an interesting one. So we started off with our best practice response times on the telephone, and we've tripped along to the Service Desk Institute conferences before. We've listened to the best practice. We thought we knew what good looked like. And actually, when we went through and listened, we run 7 different desks within Barclays, and I'll talk about the different services. And actually, when we went along and listened to each of those customer groups calling us, we realised that their abandonment rate on the phone was all slightly different as well. So what we thought looked great, actually they didn't care about. So one of our retail customers only abandoned at 50 seconds. They didn't care about being answered in 5 seconds or 10 seconds. They abandoned at 50 seconds, and that was the moment that was a cut-off moment for them. And we'd spent how much money trying to get response times down even further, and actually they didn't care. And they told us afterwards that they didn't care. As long as it got answered within a minute, they were fine. And again, I think it's easy to get hung up on what's best practice and what good looks like. And of course, that's great. And your organisations will be completely different to ours, I'm sure, in a lot of ways. But understanding what they needed from you rather than what you thought looked good for them was quite a critical moment for us. When we looked at self-help, we looked at whether there was an appetite for self-help, and I don't know about your service desk, whether it's something that you use extensively or not at all. We grew our self-help quite extensively over the last 24 months. And when we analysed who was using that self-help, and by self-help I mean you can go along to an intranet site or other and find what you're looking for and come away having self-served rather than having to contact the service desk. We looked at parts of our business, and they were extensively using it. They would look everywhere. They would look for hours to find what they wanted and only contact us if they absolutely had to. And other parts of the business would never even consider it, never looked at it, didn't want to know. Some of these people were getting paid not small amounts of money to do their roles. And did they want to do that? Did they want to look for something for 20 minutes before coming and phoning us? No, of course they didn't. So understanding sort of that horses for courses moment of what people need from you and what their tolerance is like for self-help, how adaptive they're going to be to that. It's just that one size isn't going to fit all for all of your customers, I guess. The reporting aspect was really interesting. I talked about before the service packs that we used to produce, and I'm sure you all produce something similar for your clients as well. We did rip it up actually and start again, and each of our clients has their own bespoke reporting pack now, and it took some time to do it, but we really felt it was worth it to make it feel personal for them, to let them know the things that were important to them. We've really personalised it for them. We talked about the things that they wanted to hear. We talked about their people. We talked about their geographies. We looked at the regions that the people were calling from or contacting us from, so they could understand whether they had training issues in particular regions. For example, if we look at the sort of branch network for retail banking in Barclays, there's a lot of branches out there just in the UK, and we could very quickly tell them that in certain branches they were really struggling. They didn't know how to use their IT. They needed our help more than some other branches who seemed really savvy. And we could tell them who almost their best and worst people were in terms of their IT savviness. And that really helped them marry those people up and get some training in the different branches, because if they were using their IT better, they can get through and be more productive and better serve their customers as well. So I think that was really insightful. And even now they will come to us and ask us for that kind of information which traditionally you'd think an HR service or similar might be able to provide. It's just a different perspective that your IT service desk might be able to provide, that insight into the productivity of your business. And carrying on, I suppose, from the perspective you can give, it's just understanding who needs you, when they need you, what do they need you for. Induction's been a really big thing for us. In Barclays, induction ranges from role to role, and they will work with us to understand what people need to do their jobs, particularly around the IT tools that they use. And we've been really instrumental in helping them shape that. We also run the new joiner service for Barclays. So we give them the IT to get set up on day one. We make sure their accounts are set up, all that kind of stuff. And we can help them by understanding what they need, because of plugging that side of it as well, and how they need to use it. We can provide a really efficient service. So I've put here, who does your team work for? One of the things that we did which really, really worked, and particularly given the global nature of our service desk as well, it's not always the case that your service desk will sit alongside the people that the customers that they're working for. So for example, we've got quite a large Barclaycard service desk in Lithuania. Barclaycard is a brand in Lithuania. Look like, nope, shaking heads. There isn't really a concept of using a Barclaycard in Lithuania, so we really sort of scratched our heads in terms of how can we bring the culture of Barclaycard and the branding of Barclaycard and what Barclaycard stands for to our service desk, so when those colleagues from Barclaycard call us, we really understand what's going on in their business, what campaigns they've got running at the moment, what's important to them, what pressures they might be under. So we've sort of immersed ourselves in the branding of our customers. We've got posters, we've got campaign posters, we've got all the signage, and dressed the service desk in that. And we've done that across each of our businesses. So I think when we talk about the leadership of the service desk and some of the large teams there, it's really, really important in a service desk to feel like you're part of something. It can feel like quite an anonymous place to work for sometimes, I think, especially in larger teams. And breaking it down into smaller teams and giving that brand identity really helps with feeling part of something. So for that Barclaycard team in Lithuania, they feel part of Barclaycard, they feel part of their strategy, they understand what products they've got, and they understand how to support them in a way that's meaningful. So that's been really important to us. And bring the business to them, awareness of their commercial strategy, goals and principles. So what we do, so Barclaycard, I'll carry on that theme, we actually brought one of our very senior people in Barclaycard over to Lithuania recently, and we asked them to talk about their business, we asked them to talk about their goals, talk about their vision, talk about what's important, and we have regular sessions from the business back into the IT service desk to talk about what they feel is important, and they are moments of gold dust for us. So we get the analysts in, we get some really senior people from the business in as well to come and talk about what they're doing, and you know, they love it. They love finding out about the business they're supporting. They love to find those little tidbits out about what's going to happen in the next 12 months or maybe what products are around the corner, and they can get excited about that business. And that's something that's been really, really successful for us. Invest in the commercial and business development as well as technical. I think it's quite often the trap in service desks, particularly in an IT service desk, that you focus all of your training and development around technical skills, ITIL skills, technical skills, customer service skills, and actually we've taken a real 50-50 approach in Barclays. That they get that stuff, of course they do, they need that to do their roles, but we also look at what business training can they have to supplement that learning as well. So can they have some experience in the business? We do regular trades with the business in terms of taking somebody out of the business and putting them in the service desk, taking somebody out of the service desk and putting them in the business. And that can be for a day, it can be for a week, it can be for longer. Even the day ones are really, really productive. And it's just about getting in the shoes of your customer and understanding what their day looks like, what their pressures are like, So we've had quite a rolling programme of people in the UK going and spending days in branches and actually putting the full uniform on, getting out there, going, talking to customers, sitting with personal bankers alongside them, doing their roles. And that's been a really unique experience for them, because when they see that the IT is not working for them, and they see the impact that has in Kensington branch when they've got 30 people queuing out the door, it's not okay to say, yeah, that'll be a 10-hour SLA, is that okay with you? They understand the importance of adjusting it and making sure they're meeting their customers' expectations, not just giving them a vanilla answer. So just touch on the next point there. So live in your customer's world. We use this phrase a lot at Barclays, living in our customer's world, and we use it a lot and we mean it a lot. So we do invite our customers in a lot to talk to the service desk, to talk with service desk, deliver training to service desk, and really try and bridge that connection between service desk and business. And likewise, we've got a programme called Plugged In, which aims to plug service desk back into the business. And we do that through a series of regular attachments and secondments back into the business. A lot of our people into the service desk come from the business, as I'm sure they do in your organisations as well. A lot externally as well, but a fair balance from the business themselves. People who've shown sort of technical aptitude may come and join the desk. And to harness that business knowledge is absolutely invaluable. So we ask them not to forget it when they walk through the door, but we actually sort of exploit it for all it's worth when they get in and ask them to talk to their colleagues a lot about what it feels like to be in the business. Talk about customer satisfaction scores. We run a customer satisfaction survey in Barclays. It's a 5-star survey. We ask them one question only, which is, how did you rate your experience today? And they get that on the back of every transaction closure. So we're quite lucky. We get a number of thousand responses a month due to the nature of the scale of the customers we're supporting, I guess. And they get to score us out of 5. And that's it. They can put comments in, but that's it. That's all we get, and that's all we ask for. We used to have a survey where we used to ask 6, 7, 8 questions and had a fairly low response rate. And again, it was quite internalised, the survey. It was all about us. How did we do? Did we answer it quick enough? Did we do this? Did we do that? All stuff that was exciting for us and nobody else. And eventually we talked ourselves out of it and just asked the one question. And we debated it long and hard at the time, but they might not mean us. They might have been handed off to somebody else in IT. And what if we get a score about us? It's not really about us. And it went on and on and on. But actually we decided at the end output, it didn't matter, because we are representative of IT, and if they've scored IT with a 1 out of 5, we've got to take it on the chin and try and understand why. So we put that in around February this year. Our response rate doubled overnight the day we put it in. We get around a 20% response rate now. I don't know how that benchmarks within your businesses. For us, it was a good increase on uptick on where we were. And we're doing okay. We're aiming for 4 out of 5 stars this year. We've just hit 4 month to date before I walked in, so I'm sort of sitting under the table crossing my fingers hoping it sticks for the rest of the month. But it's a really nice thing to see. What's important for us though is not just basking in the glory of hitting 4 out of 5 stars, but those star ratings can be seen instantly by our agents. So their star rating is unique to them. They can go in and see their comments come straight in, so it's live. They can go and have a look, see what their current star rating to date is personally, for their team and for the entire department. And that is so powerful. And it's nice to walk around the service desk hearing, yeah, I just got a 4 out of 5 stars for that call. It's really, really motivating. Or, oh, I got a 1 out of 5, I don't know what I did wrong, I'm going to go back and have a look at it. And what we do is replay that back to our customers. So we let them know what their star rating is for the month, how their colleagues think we've performed. And we also link that back to individual as well. So we will replay back to them the top to bottom agents of the people they've dealt with. And it was a real knife edge moment whether we decided to do that or not, because what we didn't want to get into was a fight with any of our customers around, hey, this person always gets 1 out of 5, what are you doing about it? But what we did link it to, we focused it on the positive, and those customers get to award the people that got the 4 and 5s out of 5 each month. And they'll actually come and personally give them something and say thank you. And that's a really, really, really positive message to give your service desk agents, that it's the customers that gave that rating personally for them, and then to come and get a thank you by the person who heads up that business is really powerful. And we do that on a monthly basis. I put there align performance not only to internal efficiency and quality, but take feedback from your customers regarding the health. Goes back to that ripping up the KPI pack. Once you've understood what's important for your customers, not just for you, you'll become a really valuable link to them. And I think parts of Barclays, when I joined the service desk, I've been heading the desk up for around 3 years now. When I joined, I think there was quite an immature view across the entire group around what the service desk did. And how it was linked to them. And I think that's really, really changed over time. And I think some of the most successful organisations that I've looked at have cracked that nut in terms of aligning themselves to what the business wants, not what they think they're good at. And it really just flips it round on its head for me. And that was it. Was that useful?
Okay, well, you've now got sort of 5 minutes or so where you can ask Kate some questions. There's always one, isn't there? If we wander over to you, and maybe if you speak into my microphone, and that's...
Okay, thank you very much. That was, it was enlightening what you've done with Barclays. Obviously, the size of the...
Have a roving one.
Thank
How
you.
to put somebody
Obviously,
off
the size of the organisation has allowed you to organise down lines of business and so on. What would be your key takeaways for what I would imagine are appreciably smaller service desks in here, who kind of have to do every line of business with their handful of people? What would be your key takeaways from what you've delivered there?
So I've run smaller desks as well as the Barclays ones, and I know when I'm putting that up there, everyone's looking going, we don't have that opportunity. Of course, it's not scalable in that sense. I think in terms of thinking about the businesses you support, though, you're still going to support the HR organisation, you're still going to support the finance team, the marketing team, whoever those people are. And even within those kind of department levels rather than business levels, they'll still have different asks of you, and different things will be important to them. And going back to that time in the calendar for them, there'll definitely be markers of time which will make more of a difference to them than not. And if you can tell them you understand what they are and plug back into them, they'll love you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions out there? Sure, there must be some. Interesting. I knew it a bit, back of the hall. The red flash doesn't move quite as fast as it used to. Hello, hello.
Hi, Kate.
Hello.
First of all, thanks very much. I thought that was great. I really like your approach to new starters and supporting the new starter journey. Also, we're going to pinch plugged in. So I'm interested specifically in your 5-star event-based survey. Have you scrapped all other sort of periodic annual surveys out to your customer base and only use that as your point of collecting data at the moment?
We have, absolutely.
And do you use IT service reviews as well? Because you talked a lot about aligning to different department areas, but that's quite a blanket approach to collecting customer satisfaction. So how do you manage sort of tailoring your approach to different business areas for customer satisfaction?
Well, we do talk to them as well. So the surveys around that point in time and that perception of how well IT did by them at that moment in time. We also do things like forums, customer forums. We'll go to them. So I talked about the PA community earlier. We have a PA forum where we'll just go and share hints and tips, understand what's working for them, what we did that peed them off last month, what we did that worked really well for them. And that kind of informal feedback we find works a lot better for us than necessarily surveys of things.
Okay, that's great, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions out there? Oh, not too far away, that's not bad. Sure, I'm supposed to have staff to do this.
Okay, thanks again. I'm sure everyone can learn from your experiences, but did you go down any blind alleys? In other words, to stop everybody else going down there?
I'm sure we went down hundreds. So that was the result of lots of tried and failed methods as well. Like I say, when we started, we read every book going. We knew what made a successful service desk. We'd listened to everybody's opinions. We thought we were the bee's knees in terms of what made a great experience. And our biggest mistake was thinking that we'd internalised it more, actually. So playing back those things about the things that were important to us was one of our blind alleys, definitely. Our first customer satisfaction survey, too many questions, not enough responses, not enough goods. Oh, we spent ages analysing those results. We spent hours and days and months analysing every question and trying to get our NPS scores and everything, and tweaked it every month, and it was actually a waste of time. That the one question worked better for us with a free-form comment than any combination of questions ever had done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great, next question was over here. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Kate.
Hiya.
How do you influence the rest of the IT supply chain to have the same kind of customer focus that the service desk does?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. So it's difficult. It's not always easy. We link in with them very strongly, probably more now than we used to. And actually, we're quite lucky in that they're actually quite customer focused as well. So we're a lucky organisation in that sense. And actually we're partnering up with them quite a lot as well. So for example, our on-site teams, our on-site IT support teams, we've just taken the initiative to partner up with them. So if we can't answer the query there and then with a customer, we can actually make an appointment with our on-site support teams there and then. They can go and visit them, or they will come to them, and that's quite a nice hook in together. They also get shared all of the survey results, and we go through all the survey results with them. We go through all of the end-to-end supply chain information with them, because for us, each of those support teams is part of our supply chain. And if they don't look good, we don't look good. Given that we ask one question about IT, it's in our interest to make sure they look good as well. So we get them in front of the customer as well. We turn up together when we do our service reviews. We don't just do them as service desk on our own. We take a representative for each of those support teams as well in with us. So we look as a cohesive unit across IT, and we can answer those questions and talk about development of new products as well as support of old ones as well.